Hello, hello, everyone. Stan here, and it's that time again. It's Thursday at about 6 in the evening Pacific time. It means it's time for random encounters. Da da ba ba da da. Maybe maybe I gotta get some kind of theme song to go with this because my singing it is not gonna cut it. Yeah, Random Encounters, which is the improv cartooning show where I'm going to, in the way we do in role playing games and other tabletop gaming, I'm going to use random encounter tables to choose a subject and a situation and then draw a cartoon of that. So I come in here, I've got a rough idea. I know what's on the chart I'm going to use, but I don't know what it's going to be. So it's a surprise to me, it's a surprise to you, and hopefully it's entertaining for everyone involved. I invite everyone who's watching live or on replay to grab a piece of paper, do your own drawings. You can try to draw the same thing that I'm drawing if you'd like, or I'm saying do your own interpretation, or draw something else entirely. Just draw along with me. It could be fun hour where we all do some drawing at the same time. But as I say, in order to do this, we've got to get drawing, so let's hop right to it. I'm going to look down here at my little machine and then come back up here to the big pad, and we're going to look at today's random encounter tables. A lot of these, I replace the ones that get used each week. And a lot of the ones that were there previously stay. Sometimes I shift them around a little. Sometimes I look at them and I replace them. I think, I no longer think I want to draw that right now. But I keep a list of them overall, and we'll cycle through when over time, get lots of different options in there. The who, we're going to roll dice on the who table and the what table. The bonus board is in case I roll the same number again, because we're probably going to be doing 3 drawings. So far, most weeks I'm getting 3 drawings done in the course of an hour. And if I roll the same number twice, it's kind of my choice. Though I open it up to the chat room. That's one of the bonuses of being here live. If you're here live and we get a double number selection, then I'll ask for your input. But final choice is up to me. So let's get going here. I'm going to come over to our die roller, and for those of you who've not been here before, this is how we do it. We're going to roll it 3 times, once, twice, third time's a charm, and then we would take that number. That, of course, being an example, we're not going to use the one that just came up, though one's a good number. Let's see who our first subject is going to be. Here we go. Once, twice, third time's a charm, and it's a 4. 4. We like the number 4 here on Random Encounters. 4 in this case is a jester. Okay, it's one of the new ones I put on this time. Jester. So what is the jester going to be doing? Come back to the die roller and see what is our jester going to be doing. Once, twice, third, no, God, do it again. Once, twice, third time's a charm, and it's a 2 again. 2 both instances. The dice don't lie. Clearly, the dice want the jester to be at Disneyland. Okay, all right. When I put Disneyland up there, I was kind of figuring in my head. I was thinking one of the crazier things, but a jester at Disneyland works too. So let's come here, and we will go to. We're already on the sketch layer. We'll turn off the tables. We're on the sketch layer, and let's start sketching. So, yeah. How's everyone doing this week? You all having a good good week. Hello, Dale. I'm going to move that kid. He's a little too close for me to do anything fun with him. And I'm gonna just shift that down a little. Hello, Liz. Little one smoking. No, I'm not gonna have the little kid smoking. Not that kind of show. Okay. Let's come in. We're gonna have our jester here. And I did want to give him kind of curly boots. There weren't any jesters in any Disney movies, were there? That's one of the first things I was thinking of there, and couldn't come up with any. No, the kid is not smoking. Is his giving him some cotton candy. Thanks for stopping in, Liz. I appreciate you coming in and saying hi. Good luck with whatever it is you're working on. Did I do all this on the sketch? No, good. For a second there, I thought I had forgotten to switch layers, which I will sometimes do. And wow, I think that kid's a little creepy looking. Let's see. I don't really know exactly what Cinderella's castle looks like, but how many spires or what. But that's all right. That keeps me from doing uh, any copyright infringement or trademark infringement inadvertently. And the jester is going to be saying, let's say now to put everything above, I haven't really left room for that. I guess I'm going to have to put it underneath. So let's move those layers up a little. I moved them down so I could put a word balloon above it. And he's going to say, sorry, kid. I'm more of a speak truth to power kind of gesture. Not a great joke, but it's a joke. And we will turn off the sketch layer here. And add a little color, because I think that's about it. A nice little gesture. Sorry, kid. I'm more of a speak truth to power kind of gesture. Although, since this is easily revised, if anyone has an idea for a way to improve that gag, let me know, and I will gladly take it into consideration. Come on. There we go. Wow. For some reason, it's acting a little wonky today. Use that gloaming brush to get the crayon-y kind of markery feeling. In case anyone is interested, I do my drawing on an iPad Pro using the Procreate app. I am not sponsored in any way, though I'm certainly open to the idea if Procreate or Apple wants to talk to me about that. I just really like I like these tools. This is what I'd use for most of my professional work. In fact, just about all of my professional work. That's too bright. No mother would let their kid eat anything that overly saturated. And our jester is going to be based green. Hello, Roger. Mickey Mouse, I ain't kid. Yeah. that's funny. Stop looking so goofy. I don't know if you guys can hear, but the dogs at the dog park across the way have decided that now it's time to start running around and barking. And that often happens, once I start streaming. And some yellow on the bells. Come back here. Ooh, that's terrible. Here we go. That's not green. That's, wow. Disneyland would never allow their shrubs to be that color. And we'll just finish off with the towers on Cinderella's castle. It's a fine old day in Anaheim. Let's see. Let's maybe just add a little extra on here. A little bit of extra color to give some depth. Go. Wow, that's weird. Did I get that? I inadvertently drew a big old swash of pink there. Now, if I wanted to, I could get in and I could go backwards. That's another nice thing about working digitally is when you make a mistake, you can always go back and undo it. But if it's been too long since you made the mistake, you don't know how many other things you're going to erase just trying to get back there. Sometimes it's easier to just do what I did there. You can erase it and just recolor it. All right. So we'll come back to there. Change back to our inking line. Stick a little stand in the corner. And we've got a jester at Disneyland. Not bad. Not bad. Sorry, kid. I'm more of a speak truth to power kind of jester. How about if we have him just add on to... I hear Goofy is over by Splash Mountain. Sorry, kid. I'm more of a speak truth to power kind of jester. ... I hear Goofy's over by Splash Mountain. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. There we go. Joke number 1 done. That's not bad. Not bad for 15 minutes. Having some fun. I also hope if you're drawing that you got something even funnier. Sorry, I'm still thinking about adding little bits of color here just to give it a little more depth. Never can leave well enough alone. Oh, and I also want to come in here and... Ooh, didn't want to do that. There we go. Now here's one of the ones where I am going to undo what I did. I put those lines on the... I put those colors on the line layer, which is not what I wanted to do. I want them to live on the colors layer. That way I can come here to the colors layer. And the other thing I do, I pick colors that look good to me, and then when I finish, it all seems really strong. It happens all the time. So I often will come in and then just drop the opacity on that layer by about 15 or 20%. 85, 80%, not 80% there. And that just lets some of the white shine through and pulls some of the intensity out of those colors and makes the whole thing look a little better. Maybe even lower on this one. What do you think? Around 75, 70. When you hit 70, it's too much. 75? 75 looks good. No. Yeah, stick with 80. And now we have drawing number 1 complete. So let's close out that and come back to the tables because we're going to do another drawing. We don't do just one drawing here on Random Encounters Live. Oh, no, no. We do as many as we can fit in about an hour, which is usually 3. Okay, so we're going to go back to our die roller, and we're going to roll once, twice, and third time's a charm, and it comes up 6, which I know is Adventurer, because I moved Adventurer to 6. I'll prove it by going back and showing you, but I don't expect you to take my word for it. But 6 is Adventurer, so we're going to have some sorting out to do. Let's see what the situation is and then figure out what kind of adventurer we want to send on that particular mission. All right, so we're going for what? What is, once, twice, third time's a charm, and it's 1. And over here on our what channel, 1 is shooting pool. So what kind of adventurer should we have shooting pool? The immediate comedy comes to mind of making it a short one, making it a halfling or a gnome. Um, any thoughts? Any thoughts, people? Any thought peoples out there in chat land? I'm going to, meanwhile, unlock round 2 and make sure we go to the sketch layer and turn it on and turn off the tables for a minute. And I can start by doing a little layout, right? No matter what no matter who we have shooting pool, we're going to need a pool table. I can get that set up with some I'm not sure if we're going to want that bigger or smaller, but let's make it smaller for the minute. Dale always votes gnome. Well, Dale, that's one of the reasons you and I get along so well. All right. I'll put some balls out on the table. All right, Dale, you're going to get your wish. We're going to have some gnomes here. You see lines disappearing, it's because I'm undoing. Okay. And we're going to move that a little lower on the page. Widen it out like that. And we're going to get into some lines. Quick, quick. Try not to do too much underdrawing. Usually when I'm doing cartoons, I like to have I do a fair amount of sketching. I like to have the drawing very well figured out before I start putting in final lines. But that's for, professional work. This is for fun work. This is like more like what I do when I'm doodling in my notebooks. And there I kind of do this. In fact, is very similar to the way I do it in my notebooks. I also do a little underdrawing for those, but usually it's very rough and sketchy. And it's all in ballpoint pen. And then I just go over it with more ballpoint pen. So see what happens if I turn the sketch off. You can look there. It's a little more detailed, but it's still very rough. But the sketch is just kind of lumpy. And when I'm working with a ballpoint pen, that of course I can't erase the underlines. So I usually make them very, very thin and light. Here I don't need to do that because I can turn off that sketch layer. Now I'm trying to think ahead. Another thing that's really good about working digitally is that you can erase. You can draw in lines and then erase them later without having to worry about the act of physically erasing them, which is sometimes difficult on paper. Sometimes things don't erase as completely as you would want them to. Digitally, they always do. But Ooh, that's not good. I don't want, again, this is supposed to be a doodle. That kind of thing I do all the time for my finished drawings. I draw stuff through, and I either put things on separate layers, or I erase parts I don't need. When I'm doodling, when I'm working in my notebook, when I'm working in pen and ink, or ballpoint pen uh, on a drawing, though, that's not possible. You were thinking the same thing, Raj? Well, that just goes to show great minds think alike. And it's a pretty reliable gag. Alright, let's come in here and put in the pool table. I think this is somewhere where I will take advantage of the fact that I can erase some. But you get the idea. Mm-hmm. That doesn't line up. There are points when it doesn't matter, and points when it just bugs me. Like, I want these to at least come close to lining up right. Now, I could. I mean, one of the beautiful things, another beautiful thing about digitally drawing is all of these lines, I could make them straight, and I could make those balls actually round very easily because of the way the program works. If I draw a line and I just hold still, it snaps it into a perfectly straight line like that. And in fact, it'll make it uh, at some a series of angles that you can just. So if you want something to be straight up and down or parallel to the ground or anything like that, you can without any fuss. But it then takes away from the feeling that the drawing was sketched. On my own, I am nowhere near so perfect. And I guess he's going to be. I should have said this while I was drawing instead of waiting till I was done. I figure he's going to be up against some Dragonborn without much of a sense of humor. Hang it from the rafters. Don't know why I'm putting in background in this one when I don't on most of them. I guess today I'm doing all captions underneath because that's where I left room for this one too. Hold it steady, lads. There's 10 gold pieces. How would I phrase that? There's 10 gold pieces riding on this. Shot. There we go. Okay. Now I look at this and I can't decide if I wish I was a little looser or a little more specific. This is the kind of brush where it's in between in the details on, like, say, this Dragonborn character. These little swing lines over here have now been eaten up by the walls, so I have to redo them a little. Yeah, well, I mean, I was about to get all futzy on it, and don't want to do that. This is supposed to be a quick drawing. All right, we're on the colors layer now. I'm going to come back to my gloaming brush. look here. Some colors on the pool cues. And let's see, we want to get the rope. Do the whole tabletop like that, and then go over, maybe erase the balls, and then go over, fill them in. Ooh. Put some color on the table. Just sometimes when you're doing something like this, it helps to just change the color slightly. All right, between the top and the side, it gives a sense of depth. I mean, I could have done the whole of both of those, the whole of it in that same color, but it just adds that little sense of depth. Then also, if you want to give a sense of three-dimensional depth, change the color. And we will make the Dragonborn kind of off yellow. A little darker on his fins. One of the tougher colors for doing this kind of coloring is metal, armor, things like that. Just because metallic colors are very often versions of gray, but then they look dull. You want them to look a little shinier. So one of the things that uh, one of the things you'll often do is switch it off to a um, hmm, to a blue instead. In this case, I'm going to make it a green too. There we go. And I think the last thing we want to do is put on a little color for the rafters. Not too close. And say you sometimes you just want to change the color a little to give the idea that things are on different planes, or give the idea that some three dimensionality. Three dimensionality. It's not easy for me to say, but you have to make sure the colors are different enough that the eye sees that color change. Okay. Hold it steady, lads. 10 gold pieces riding on this shot. Let's take those colors and drop them down to about 85%. This time, there we go. There we go. Let me see what's going on now. Let's take a break. I see some things have come on here. Edmund says hello. Hello, Edmund. Rogers had several things to say. Anyone else start doing every other session with a paper analog session? That's a suggestion. You know what, right now, I don't have a good setup for getting a camera on when I'm doing paper drawing. That's one of my things to work on for my studio here. But right now, that's just not something I can easily do. And what I can do, I think, might be good for a 10-15 minute video, but I don't think it would be good for an hour. We'll see. All right, so there we go. That's another one. Oh, come back here. Wow, that one, I spent more time than I wanted to on that one. We've already hit an hour. Bonus time, because I want to do a third drawing. So here we go. Close up shop. Open the tables. Close round 2. And come back and let's see if something quick doesn't happen. Suppose that in part is up to me. What do we got? Once, twice, third time's a charm, and is that a? We had 2 before, didn't we? No, Dragonborn. Wow, interesting. Since I just drew a Dragonborn. And what's Dragonborn going to be doing? Twice, third time's a charm. 3. What's 3? Dragonborn in space. Wow, that sounds like fun. I don't want to do that fast. All right, let's get to it then, shall we? Dragonborn in space. I don't know. I think that when I'm done with this, I'm not taking in space off the list for next time. I like in space as a prompt. All right, I'm gonna do that. Is my quick sketch. I'm just gonna do it. Spelled C. Yeah, there's so many possibilities for in space. Spelljammer. I've gone for a more modern take on it here in my sketch. In spaces. Got so many possibilities. Now here I am going to stop there and see how it just snaps out. It's a beautiful, beautiful little tool. Is it me? Am I just having a easier time with this one? Or is it just, it seems like it's coming together very quickly and I'm happy with it. That's the stranger part, is that I'm happy with it. There we go. I'm going to use that line again. You know what? I'm going to thin up this line here. Just move it down a little. I've got room for him to be saying, it's full of stars. Drawing a dragonborn with his air hose snapped. You are crueler to your creations than I am, Roger. But that's funny. All right, so I turned my sketches off, and now let's add some color. I think in this point I will make the dragonborn kind of an orangey, kind of somewhere between a bronze and a brass. Wrong layer. Why is that not wanting to work for me tonight? I have a white spacesuit, which seems to be the fashion. You don't have to color most of it. You just have to use a highlight color. It's one of the interesting things about the human brain and how it interprets the color. If I do that with the highlight. Like all I've done here, the difference between that glove and the suit is I use a different highlight color, but mostly it's all white. But the brain interprets those as being different colors. Let's come through and add this in. Again, those are demonstrably blue, right? You can see that I was pulling all of that out of blue. But you look at it and it looks gray. It looks metallic gray. All right, let's see. And then we're going to use some purple for space. And I'm going to actually go back to my standard inking pen. Just make it a little larger and drop some stars in the background. Probably do a few white ones to go with these yellow ones, just to mix it up. White, come on, white. Yeah. And go back to my gloaming brush. A very, very, very light blue. And add a little sheen to the glass. And have Dragonborn in space. There we go. Let's take those colors down a little. Not that much. More than that. 85%? 85%. He's a little wigged out, our Dragonborn in space. All right, Dragonborn in space. Wonder if it's Purple Rain in purple space. Prince of an idea. Roger, come on. That's below even you. I mean, really. All right, so there we go. It's been a lovely little hour and 15 minutes. We have done a Dragonborn in space and Gnome Shooting Pool and a Jester at Disneyland. All in the last hour. And I didn't know I was going to do any of that. That's the beauty of this show. I don't know what I'm going to draw until it happens, and neither do you. But if you come here and hang out, you get to have the fun. And like Roger and Dale and Edmund did, you can suggest and affect what it is that I'm drawing. So if you're watching this on replay, I hope you can join us live in person. Roger, Edmund, Dale, everyone else who's hanging out. I see we've had some other people on who's been watching but haven't had anything to say, and that's all right too. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to switch back over to here to me on the main camera. Thank you for joining me for another Random Encounters Live. We'll be back here again next Thursday for another hour and maybe a little more of live improvisational cartooning. I invite you, as always, to bring your own paper and pen or drawing tablet and draw along with me, whether you're drawing the same thing or something else. And if you want to, send me a message via the comments here or on the Facebook group. And if you send me a copy of what you've been drawing, I will share it with everyone else in the next show and get you dozens of eyes to look at your work too. So until next week, thank you everyone for coming along. I really appreciate it. And do some drawing, have some fun, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.